Good morning, everybody. Here is me making a eggplant and veggie curry. So you want to start off with chopping your eggplant into long strips, like long thick strips, and then chopping those into cubes. And you're going to want to set those aside in a bowl. Just like pile those all in there. And then you got your butternut squash, which you will want to peel and skin. And yeah, that's what it looks like after you finish peeling it. Nice and hefty, nice and de-skinned, nice and meaty. And now you're going to want to chop off the tops and the bottoms of it. You're going to need a lot of strength with it because these fuckers are dense. And yeah, once you finish chopping and struggling chopping those open, you're going to want to... Yeah, you'll see the insides. You're going to want to chop that in half as well. And then once you finish chopping that in half, you're going to want to scoop out the insides. However, if you find that you have a more dry interior of a butternut squash, you're going to want to look at the ground when you drop a seed. When you have a dry interior of a butternut squash, you're going to struggle with scooping it out with a spoon. And you'll instead need to chop it up with a knife and struggle with setting up your phone as well. So yeah, you're going to need to chop it up with a knife because this time around, this is the second time I'm making this. This time around I had a pretty dry interior of a butternut squash, so I was unable to de-seed it with just a spoon. So as you can see, I'm slicing it up with a knife in order to try and get away as like much seed, much of the uneven, terrible texture interior there is. And yeah, you're also going to want to hold this very haphazardly. Just completely ditch any safety standards in the kitchen. Because I'm a chef. I am a chef. I'm not cooking for anyone else, so I'm just not following the standards. Easy. But yeah, you're going to want to struggle with that and then finally get it done. Shrug and chuck it off to the side. Even though it's not perfectly sliced open, but it's good enough. And so you're going to want to just take those guts and toss them off to your trash bowl. Different than your prep bowl. So yeah, you're going to chop those all into cubes, similar to what you did to the eggplant. And you're going to toss that into the bowl along with the zucchinis after you wash them. And the peppers. And you're going to want to dice up the onion, except you will not put it into the bowl. And this is where you realize that you forgot to get a red pepper from the store. But it's fine, because this time we're working with onions. So you're going to want to use half of your peppers and just store the other half to snack on later or something. And yeah, just half peppers, chop them up, put them in your bowl. And now I'm going to show you how I was taught to dice up an onion. Now, I was taught many safer ways to dice an onion several years after I'd already been doing this technique. I did not remember any of them, primarily because I've been doing this for years now with this one technique. So I did not retain any of the safer, more accurate ways of chopping this up. And so I'm sticking with the French technique that I was taught in school. So yeah, you're going to want to slice some lines down horizontally, some lines down vertically with the grain of the onion, and then you're just going to want to try and chop those evenly all the way down the horizontal of the onion, and yeah, just get rid of that butt right there. Good job. Give it a nice thumbs up. And so yeah, nice thick chops up. And so for butter, this recipe calls for a lot of butter. I have salted butter because I did not have regular butter at the store when I was looking for butter. So yeah, you're going to need a large chunk of that. When I first made this, I used much more butter. But yeah. And now you're going to want to chop those into fours. The first two you will need to put into a pot and save the other two for later. And so yeah, now you're just going to need to melt down that butter. And once that butter is fully melted, you will need to add in your saffron. And so yeah, now that the butter's melted, you will add in a large pinch of your saffron. I added in more later on than what you can see on camera right now. but yeah, you're going to need a large pinch of saffron. No clue the measurement for the saffron. I'm going to say 1 tablespoon, like 2 teaspoons to 1 tablespoon. And so yeah, you're going to want to let that cook together, melt up and all that stuff. Let the saffron cook into the butter. And make sure to stir it occasionally, I'd say. Pretty occasionally. And now you're going to want to add in your diced up onions into the pot and just let those start sweating in with the saffron butter. And for those, you're going to want to continue stirring up just to make sure they don't burn to the pot or anything like that. And also to make sure they completely absorb all of those flavors. And yeah, that's what you kind of need to look for when it comes to cooking up. You'll need to make sure they have a nice yellow color. When they're translucent like that, that's when you know it's almost ready to add in your vegetables. And yeah, while the onions are cooking, you can put together your seasonings. I'm not going to say them all out loud. So instead, I'm just going to put them on the screen. But yeah, you can see the little protein scoop I used because I used my regular spice container for cinnamon sugar. And so yeah, now that your spices are prepped, you'll add in your vegetables into the pot. Get pissed off when you drop a few onto the floor. But yeah, just carefully add those into the pot. Be careful not to drop any. Be careful not to burn yourself several times. And yeah, just be careful of the heat as well, because we're currently working on medium heat. Medium heat, I'd say, is pretty standard to maintain throughout the entire process of this. But yeah, you're going to want to add in your zucchini, butternut squash, eggplant, peppers, all that into the pot. Very carefully, very slowly to make sure not to drop anything all over the place. And yeah, now once that's all added, you'll toss in your spices with your protein scoop, of course. And yeah, just chuck that into the sink, launching sink water everywhere. And after that, you'll need to stir it and mix all those flavors up accordingly while still letting the vegetables fry. And for frying the process, you'll need to check on it every 3 to 5 minutes to make sure it's continuously being rotated and continuously being fried up and softened. So then the vegetables are nicely cooked and the flavors are all being brought out. And I'll also add in a bit of honey to this, a nice little sweetness on the side, a nice little background flavor, if you will. So yeah, I just added in, I'd say, about a tablespoon of honey for that entire thing. For this entire thing, you could probably get 5 to 6 servings. You can probably break closer to 10 if you choose to, you can probably break closer to 10 if you choose to have it as a topping for rice. And now you'll want to fill up your bowl with some water in order to help boil up those veggies and soften them up and all that. And once you finish adding in your water, it should still break the surface quite evenly. You should still see it slightly past the vegetables, as you can see here in that clip, sort of. It was a very quick clip. But yeah, you'll want to see a thin layer of water rising up past that vegetables. And you'll want to stir up the vegetables again every 3 to 5 minutes to make sure they're all being rotated nicely and they're all being an equal amount of cooking and softening. Because butternut squash takes forever to soften because it's butternut squash. And yeah, once it's all finished cooking, you're going to want to mash down the vegetables until it's a nice thick paste with still some large vegetables left over. And you'll want to stir that up frequently. And also, you'll see that there might be some extra water. If you find it's too much, you can just spoon out a few of it. But otherwise, you'll want to add in your extra one more thing of butter once that's done. In order to your final 2 pieces of butter once that's done. And you'll want to add in, I'd say, about 1/4 cup of milk, I'd say. Yeah, 1/4 cup of milk for that much vegetables sounds about right. 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup. And then you'll also want to stir that up quite nicely, make sure it's all equally combined. And once that's done, you're also going to want to add in some yogurt. Now, I'd recommend only adding in 2 tablespoons worth. However, my yogurt was nearly finished, so I decided to add in a tad bit more, which you'll be able to see in a clip. It has little yogurty grains, which eventually gets cooked out once you finish reducing the curry. But yeah, you'll want to add in some unflavored yogurt, just plain yogurt, and add in about 2 tablespoons worth into the curry, give it a nice creaminess. And you also want to mix it up nicely in order to get a good taste test, in order to taste for more spices and such, in order to know if you need more of certain flavors. And yeah, you can see here me running low on yogurt, so I just chuck in the rest of it. Well, I didn't chuck in the rest of it. I had a good spoonful after recording. I like yogurt. I really like yogurt. Yeah, I'm agreeing with myself. I like yogurt. But yeah, it'll be a nice creamy, thick curry that will be a tad bit liquidy, but it's fine because it's going to be reduced at some point while you're letting it cook. I wish you guys could hear the sound this video is making. It is diabolical. But yeah, nice little taste test. It's going to be very hot because you did not blow on it long enough, but it tastes good. And yeah, that's what the curry should look like. And then you're going to let it continue cooking in order to cook down. And yeah, while you cook up some rice, you just let that heat up and reduce, add a fried egg on top, and that is what the finished product looks like. There's some rice underneath that, nice fried egg. And yeah, all in all, this food was pretty damn delicious. Something fell. Pretty damn delicious, and I enjoy making it. I enjoy the taste of it. I have plenty of meal prep of it now. It's delicious. I love it. You should try it.